Hi guys, I thought I'd bring you into my kitchen and share with you just a few of the little projects I have underway at present moment. I have the luxury of having picked up some soft sculpture, some modelling clay, and my favourite at present moment is some latex rubber. In my collection I've got some Mod Podge moulds, and I've also got Maureen Carlson's, also her moulds, some little faces here. I've got old stamps that have come from a newspaper printing shop, some vintage keys, and I've also got some nice old weights. Now the project started very simply because I got some old keys and this little metal throb, and on it it's about sending your keys back to the Chief of Police, and it's got this wonderful serial number on it. Now what I was asked is if I could replicate it. Didn't want to give the original away because this has taken me a wee while to hunt this one down, and I'm quite chuffed to have it in my collection. So I looked around and pulled out some soft sculpture, and the soft sculpture is literally a piece of foam that you heat up with a heat gun, and then you can mould it depending on what you press into it once it is warmed. And as you can see, here is a key impression. Now I wanted the old vintage keys, and I wanted to see if I could run the latex rubber into them and see what I could come out with. Now the soft sculpture is something I've acquired, and so I don't have a lot in my collection, but let's just share with you the results. So very simply, this was the rough impression that I got of a key, and yep, if you don't try, you don't find out, and I can't turn around and say that that is wonderful. But I have got in my collection some Mod Podge moulds. So I moved on to using the Mod Podge moulds, and you can see the results here. We've got all these wonderful cogs and some shells, and that's using the latex rubber. And I was very, very impressed because they came out lovely and clean. I've still got my soft sculpture here with the keys on, but getting back to the throb, I also tried pressing it into the soft sculpture, and this is the impression that it left and made. I put the latex in and it was too thin, so I moved on to modelling clay because I could really get a lovely impression. So we've got these big, quite big sections of modelling clay where I've actually applied my key throb, pressed into it, and then from that point onwards seeing what I could do with the latex, and now you can see the end results. So these are the results. This is latex, which I have painted with gold metallic paint and then put a little bit of black stamping ink just to try and get some of the raised markings on there. So far I'm impressed with what I've done. Let's share with you, where do I go from here? I think what we'll do is also explain that the gold here that you see, that is the copper, this is the latex again, but I've just used a cheap can of spray, this deco spray that I picked up at Christmas. I think I paid in the sales 50p for it, and that's what I've done. I've just sprayed this selection of latex moulded items. Now the good news about when you do something in latex, it's very durable in the respect of you can take it, bend it, and obviously give it a little bit of a stretch as well. I said about my old vintage items in my collection, and in this case I've got this old weight, and I just love the fact of the recess and the printing inside, and I spent a long time trying to work out how I could actually get that to print. So to do that I applied more latex. Here is one of my first finished results, and here is the stamped item. So I'm impressed that I've been able to take this particular old weight, apply latex, let it dry, and then I've made my own personal stamp. So that's just one of the ways that I've used the latex. I've also got this mould sitting in the corner here, and we could do a quick reveal. Now this has had 48 hours. Some of it is still a little bit, it goes a very rough natural colour when it is dry. It's still a little white inside, so they may not be ready to pop out. So I'm going to give it a little go. Let's see if we can get a face out. So this is in real time, and like everything, don't think it's going to be as easy as I'd hoped on camera, because they just peel. What I'm going to do is leave these guys a little bit longer, because what happens is when they dry they actually start shrinking away from the mould, so these may need another 48 hours to 24 on there. But I do know that this Mod Podge mould, that some of these are ready to pop out. So what I'm going to do is just literally peel back. Now I used a scraper to scrape these down as finely as I possibly could. So we've got a little bit of gunky latex around the outside, as you can see, which I'm peeling, but that's not a problem, because that's not going to affect, and in actual fact it's quite simple to pull that off, and then we can get into the mould. Here it comes. And these are basically so I can decorate some of my journal pages, and definitely the covers. Listen to that. There you go. So that's the first one out of the mould this morning. And then that can be painted in all manners of form with acrylic paints. And this has literally had 48 hours as well, just to be on the safe side, as much as I was keen to get in there sooner rather than later. And you can just pull off the stringy bits. Have a little look at that one. So all in all, that's just some of the projects I've been up to in the last 24 hours. Absolutely adoring the cogs here. Some are positive ways forward, some have not been quite as successful. My intentions is to take the soft sculpture, heat it up and take some of these old metal newspaper stamps and actually see if I can mould these stamps into this soft sculpture, and then obviously I can paint it, I can stitch into it, and I can decorate some tags. So hopefully I'll be able to share with you some tags that I've made using some of these old newspaper printing blocks. Anyway guys, by all means I will catch up with your questions very, very soon, and I appreciate all the comments that you leave. I'll speak to you soon. Bye bye.